In Sheriff of Nottingham, we're all merchants, and Prince John has unfortunately increased the regulations even heavier now. So he's posted the sheriff at the gates, waiting for us to come in to inspect our bags. But luckily, the good-hearted sheriff is easy to bribe and get through. And so the goal of the game is to get as much wealth as you can by the end. Good luck. So the components of the game are not too involved. You have legal goods, you have contraband cards, you have the player boards and their merchant bags, you have gold, and of course, the good sheriff marker. When you look at the cards as a breakdown, the upper right hand corner you have the value of that card. In the lower right hand corner you have the penalty if that card is confiscated from you. And then at the bottom you have the label, and that will be more important as well. And there are some cards that actually have a 4+ on them. Whenever you're playing with 3 people instead of 4 or 5, you're going to remove all of the 4+ cards out of the game. So that'll be all of the bread, and there'll be some contraband, and if you're playing with the royal goods, you'll take out some of those as well. We'll talk about those more later. Since we're talking about components, I actually just wanted to show you these coins as well. Found them on Kickstarter by Fantasy Coins LLC, and they're actually really cool. They're nice and heavy, and make a really fun noise when you're playing, and it's a ton of fun. It adds a really cool element to Sheriff of Nottingham. It also works for many other games, and they actually have these cool rubies that you can replace some of the resources in other games for. And I just want to point them out so you can go check them out. And they have the new Kickstarter has 10 new sets and artwork. They've done it once before, they did it last year, so we'll have a ton of artwork from that previous Kickstarter as well. So you can buy sets, you can buy individual ones, you can buy entire collections. They have 24 karat gold options, different styles, all kinds of stuff. So check it out and let me know what you think. So as far as setup, each person is going to take their player board, is going to get their matching color bag. They're going to start with 6 cards in their hand and 50 gold. In order to set up the draw stack, you're going to get put all the draw cards here. You're going to create 2 discard piles. So, and each of those discard piles will start with 5 cards in them. And that's all there is for setup. So there's 5 phases to each round. So there's the market, you load the merchant bags, you declare what you have in the bags, the sheriff gets to inspect them, and you have the end of the round. So looking at the market, each person is going to have 6 cards in their hand. And so what you're going to get to do is set aside as many as you like to try to create the best hand that you can. So you'll see that I have 2 cheeses and a couple mead. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this apple and cheese, and I'm going to get rid of one of these mead. And so here I can actually tell the sheriff and make sure he knows that I'm getting rid of contraband. Hopefully that'll help me. Well, there's a cheese in the discard pile, so I'm going to go ahead and grab that one. And then I don't really want another contraband, so I'm going to draw 2 more cards from the draw pile. So now I have back up to my 6 cards. And then the next person would do that and would go around until it comes back. Once everyone has done the market round, then you go to the load merchant bag. So looking at my hand again, I set it up for cheese. So I'm going to hold on to this one, and I'm going to just try to get away with putting 1 contraband in for now. So I'm going to keep holding on to the mead, and I'm going to put these 4 cards into my merchant bag. And once everyone has loaded their bag, you then take it and pass it to the sheriff. So you'll look the sheriff in the eye and you'll tell him exactly what you have, or mostly. So in this case, I would declare 4 cheese, good sheriff. Promise. So once everyone has declared their goods, the sheriff then gets to inspect. And this will be the only round the sheriff actually does a whole lot in. But it would be wise for the sheriff to make sure he's paying attention to what everyone else is doing when he's not inspecting. So once he has all the merchant bags, he actually gets to choose which ones to inspect and which ones not to. And this is where the fun really begins. Because at this point, you can start bribing and negotiating and getting the sheriff to open other people's bags and trying to get him to allow you with whatever legal goods or contraband that you may have into the market. And so at this point, you can offer the sheriff gold, you can offer him goods from your stand, you can offer him goods from inside your bag, you can even offer him future promises. Now the trick with future promises is you don't have to uphold them. If it's within the same round, you do have to, but future promises are not something you have to stick to. So be careful with future promises. But, for example, if I have the red bag here, they could bribe me to prevent me from opening it if I was the sheriff. So the sheriff gets to choose which one's to open and which one's not. And once he does choose to open it, and once he pops it, there's no going back. So once he pulls out, this player declared 3 chickens. However, you see he actually only has 1. And so he'll get that 1 chicken. However, the 2 contraband will be confiscated, and he'll have to pay a penalty for each one. In this case, they're both 4, so he'll have to pay 8 gold to the sheriff, which is me this round. And I can choose which discard pile these go into, and I'll choose that one. He then pays me 8 gold, and I move on to the next bag. So, the yellow player, let's say he offered me 7 gold, and I was very okay with that, and so I'll let him go without it. Well, when he does that, he'll actually take his bag, he'll open it, he'll put down the goods in the appropriate section, and if he did sneak in contraband, he'll put them face down on the top of his player board. What's nice is that keeps those secret for the game, so you never know where everyone's at exactly when it comes to the score. So it'll be a nice reveal at the end of the game. With the last bag, he can choose to open it or not. Well, the sheriff chose to open it, and when he opens it, it's all legal goods. So when that happens, the sheriff is actually required to pay the penalty to that player. So in this case, the sheriff will have to pay 6 gold, and that player gets all 3 of those goods back. He just gets to set those right there into his market stand. So have a lot of fun with the inspection round. Make sure to bribe whatever you can. Bring out KFC if you want to bribe them with food and chicken, or any. Let your creativity and imagination flow. And the last round is the end round. So I got rid of 4 cards, and so I'll have 2 cards left. So I'll have to draw back up to 6 cards. And once I have my 6 cards, everyone draws back up. You pass the sheriff marker, and the fun begins again. Once you get to the end of the game, scoring is pretty simple. You have the value of the goods, both legal goods and contraband. You have any gold that you have, and then there's a king and a queen bonus. So whoever has the most goods of a single type, so the most apples, the most bread, cheese, and chicken, will get the king bonus, and the second most will get the queen's bonus. So there are 48 apples in the deck, and so the highest king bonus goes to apples, and there's 36 cheese and bread, and there's 24 chicken. And so the lowest king and queen bonus is the chicken for 10 and 5. There's 2 other aspects to the games we haven't mentioned yet, and that's royal goods and a time limit. The royal goods are special goods. Now these are the legal goods that are apples, cheese, chicken, and rooster, but they're the better quality ones. So there's rye bread, there's Gouda cheese, there's blue cheese, and there's royal roosters, and so on and so forth. Now these will actually, at the end of the game, during scoring, will actually count towards the king and queen bonus. And you'll see at the top, it says counts as 2 bread, and there's another one that counts as 3 bread, and there's some that say count as 3 cheese. And so it'll be 2 or 3 depending on what card you have, but that can really help a lot go towards that king and queen bonus. But you also see the value on these are much higher than the regular value of the regular legal goods. And so use these wisely, and make sure, it's your first couple times playing, then go ahead and take those out of the deck. And after you've played it once or twice, go ahead and throw them in there, and it gets adds a nice element to the game. The other thing is a time limit. It's an optional rule to be able to set a time limit on the inspection round. And what you'll do is you'll have 1 minute for each merchant. So if I'm the sheriff and there's 3 other merchants, then I'll get 3 minutes during my inspection round. If you're playing with 5 players, then there's obviously 1 sheriff, and the sheriff will get 4 minutes. And if time runs out, then whatever bags he has not inspected will just go right back to those merchants. And one note to make is the end of the game is when every player has been the sheriff twice. And if you're playing a 3-player game, then it's every player has been the sheriff 3 times. And that's how you play Sheriff of Nottingham. Thank you for joining us in Paradise. Until next time, game on. I think we got everything.
Yeah, I think so. How long is that? Oh boy, that'll be fun to go through. 13 minutes.